So hopefully this doesn't really annoy anybody. I think I found the corner in the house that is like the furthest away from where anybody is. I have moved into work. I moved in yesterday. My poor boss really likes to sit on the couch in the kitchen, and I brought her into the living room to show her how earlier that day her dad had helped me drive over all my stuff, and we had folded out the couch bed, and it's like a really big couch bed, and I had like made it up with all of my quilts and weighted blanket, and I had put all my stuffed animals that I brought, and I was hoping that she would like to hang out on the bed with me while I unpacked. So I showed it to her, and she likes to walk into the living room. We never really use it for anything. Nobody ever goes in there that much, but um, Anna really likes to go in because several years ago, when her room was being like repainted and stuff, she was sleeping in the living room in like a little tent. She sleeps in a tent because of seizures. She's got like a huge bed that her mom has like built into a tent, but back then she was kind of sleeping in a little tent on the floor. And so it was this little dark room where Anna would sleep in a tent, and she had her TV in there, and I would come and sit with her, and it was really dark, and we just called it the cave. So almost every day, Anna likes to walk into the living room and look around at where her cave used to be. It's been like about 5 years since then, I guess, but you know, it's fun to look around and think about the cave. Anyway, Anna came in, and I thought she might like to see my bed and all my stuffed animals that I brought, but she just took a look at it and just like wanted to walk right out of the room. So I coerced her by bringing in some of her pillows and some of her toys to sit on the fold out bed while I unpacked for the next few hours, and we watched Spider-Verse on Netflix. Um, anyway, as it got to be like a few hours in, I realized that I didn't pack any underwear. Like, as I was so concerned about bringing all these things that were like deeply emotionally important to me, and like bringing everything into to work on music, and like bringing outfits that I would like to wear while also not bringing like an unrealistic amount of clothes, given that like they do laundry a lot more than I do. Like, I really would just need like 2 outfits basically, but I brought a little more than that. Anyway, I fussed so much about everything that I didn't pack any underwear. So I went back this morning. I think it's the case for a lot of people that everyone thinks they have coronavirus because, first of all, it's allergy season, so everyone has allergies, which isn't the same symptoms, but like at the same time, like if you feel sick, it is freaky, and like then everybody has anxiety and feels like dizzy and like sick and nauseous and tired and achy and all of that stuff. And then I feel like I hadn't been sleeping well, and I'd kind of been having trouble eating because I tend to eat like in restaurants and stuff like that, and I wasn't able to do that because they're closed, obviously. So I was feeling really weird and out of it. And so I mean, I don't think I'm like certainly in a low risk category, so I think it's pretty likely that if I did have it, I might not even have any symptoms. So like, you know, anyway, I went to bed and I slept for like 11 or 12 hours. Like, I think I was partly just a bit stressed about like moving versus not moving, and just like the stress of like having to move suddenly, you know, and just prepare for all of this suddenly. So I think once that was taken care of and I slept, I don't feel bad anymore. So I went back tomorrow. I went back this morning on the bus to my old neighborhood, and I got some groceries and a sandwich at the grocery store, and I packed up some more stuff. And since I was making the extra trip, I brought like a really light shelf that I have because I need a little more space to store things. I've been working on a video for like fucking like 2 years at this point, which I guess I'll finally edit and finish now, even though it's not up to date. But I at the time wanted to describe some of the different ways that I used to like make things easier for myself as an autistic person in terms of doing like daily living. And one of the things that I do is I always store things like in a place where I can see them. And I don't know for sure what the issue is, but I think it's something to do with like working memory. So for me, it's harder to remember like where things are, to think about things. So basically having things right in front of my eyes really helps. So I always keep all my clothes right in front of me, and I keep everything that I need to get ready in the morning and get ready for bed at night. I always keep them next to my bed, visible. So I store most things in like cubbies or bookshelves, and don't listen to my vlog. I hear him walking by. So I store most things in cubbies or bookshelves, and like that really helps me a lot. Blah blah blah. Anyway, hopefully I'll finish that video now because it was like years ago. I mean, I had bangs. I had my baby bangs. Yeah. Anyway, uh, where was I? I brought some stuff back. My poor boss, Anna, like, the thing is, even though San Francisco is on lockdown, it's really not like you would imagine lockdown would be like. Like, grocery stores and hardware stores are still open, and also, like, restaurants are still open for takeout, which I don't know if that's the best idea, but I guess it's true that, like, people are, no matter what, like, going out drastically less than we would be otherwise and not being in groups, but, like, you know, whenever we go out, there's certainly less people, but there are always some people going to get takeout and going to the store. And like all of us, except for my boss, but her mom and dad and I have all been going out like multiple times a day to like get takeout or just to like buy stuff that we just decided we need. So I'd like to sort of try to be doing that less, I guess, but I haven't been so far. And yeah, anyway, my boss, you know, I guess technically the rule is that you can only go out for essential things. And also just like because she is, you know, needs a lot of assistance when she goes out. None of us have been bringing her with us. She's always been at home with somebody. So, yeah, I don't know. She's just had this like really kind of strange, sad look on her face. And we thought that she was in pain or something. But her mom asked her about it today. Like, was she feeling sad because she wasn't going out and she wasn't going to her normal activities and she wasn't seeing people? And she did this, which is her sign for yes. So, yeah, that sucks. But hopefully we'll take her out and like drive to somewhere so that we can go hiking or something like that soon. And hopefully over time we'll be able to have more of a normal routine. Our kind of main social thing is that the community college offers classes for disabled people, and so we go to like 2 classes a week, and that's sort of, I mean, honestly, like for me too, I feel like it's like a main social outlet. I see people that I know like all the time from these classes when I'm just like going around the city. But yeah, we go to these classes twice a week, and so that's kind of our social group, and like we know tons of people from there, and that's kind of our community. So I've been thinking if nobody else does, I'll try to make a Facebook group for people from that class. And so maybe we can do some kind of video call, or at the very least, we can all share about like what we're all doing and stuff like that. And then I'm also thinking, I'm really into the St. Stupid's Day Parade, which is this parade that's on April 1st every year in San Francisco. And it's kind of this like surreal, vaguely anti capitalist joke parade. So I think maybe I'll try to organize something like that on Facebook too. And I've seen somebody say like the worst thing about this. I mean, not the worst thing, but you know what I mean. It's terrible that Facebook has become relevant again. But yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, the other thing I was gonna say is I guess I'm just kind of thinking about yeah, I mean I was saying it's weird to think about. I'm certainly not compared to the average person in the US. I'm not low income because the minimum wage in San Francisco is like $16, something that like would be quite high in other places, but because the cost of living is so high here and because I pay like $1,200 to live in a basement, and like if you want to live in like an actual apartment in an apartment building, it's like basically at least $2,000, but probably a lot more. Yeah, because of that, I've always like been very hand to mouth, I guess. And in the last couple of months, I've sort of come up with a plan to like save as much money as possible in the hopes of being able to live in an apartment someday. Although like I mean, my room is fine, but it's just like I would really like to live in an apartment. I don't think that's like unreasonable. I'm 31. Like, I'd just rather have my own living space and stuff. Like the way my life worked out is just basically that like I moved here and I met my boss's family and I felt so happy working for them that I just felt like this is like the people that I was meant to be with, and I didn't want to do anything else. But because of that, it does mean that I'm always in this kind of annoying financial situation because for San Francisco, it's like a relatively low wage job, and so I've always, kind of had a hard time with my living situation. Like before I lived in the place where I live now, I lived in this extremely weird place, and I'm sorry, this is like not super related, but it is eventually related. So because of how the cost of living is here, like a really cheap place that I could get to live, the last place that I lived, was this house, and the people that ran the house were, well, I'll just say they were Hare Krishnas. That's what they were, and at least one of the couple was kind of eccentric, and it was, I guess the main thing was, it was basically like a 3-bedroom house, and at the time that I moved out, there were, I think 7 people living there, and there was only 1 bathroom, and it was like a small house. So it was very intense, and just because of the religious situation, there was a rule that you weren't allowed to have any meat or alcohol in the house, which I knew when I moved in, so I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying it was kind of a quirky place to live, and that's like sort of the type of living situation that you're going to have if you live in San Francisco, even if you do like have a full-time job, if your job isn't high paying, because that's like all that you can afford. I would say like when I moved out, it's just that like there were also 2 dogs in the house. That's part of the issue. One of the landlords really didn't get along with the dogs in the house, and that was like a big thing. But basically there were just so many issues in the house because of like the large amount of people and dogs that were like living in such a small space, and that's kind of how things always are. And like where I live now, it's just like $1,200 is quite nice, but I don't have my own kitchen and it isn't a basement. I felt kind of bad because when my boss's dad came to get my stuff, he like looked at my room and he was like, "Wow, you've like made your room sound really bad. It's actually nice." So I felt bad. And like, it's not that it's not nice, and it's not that it's like not nice for the amount of money it is, given that I live in San Francisco, but like I hope to live in an apartment someday. Anyway, to get past that, the point is like I'm now realizing that given what's going on, I'm actually much luckier than a lot of people. I mean, at least people that are in my income bracket, like I'm able to still like work the same amount and get paid. But lots of people who, people that are like retail workers or like food service workers and lots of other kinds of jobs, or like obviously anybody that is like a performer, or like people who work in theater, like musicians. Maybe musicians might be able to do some stuff online, I'm not sure, but like there's just so many jobs where people won't be able to work at all. So yeah, I guess it's weird. I find myself in a very different position that I was like a week or 2 ago. Like yeah, I guess I'm kind of thinking like, I have been planning to save a lot of money, and like now, you know maybe an opportunity to save more. But I'm also kind of like thinking I'm really sorry, I'm listening to the voices talking. They're all eating dinner. But I guess I'm thinking about the fact that I'm going to have more money than like people that are struggling, and I'm sort of trying to figure out how much of my money I should save and how much I should give away. I have decided that since I'm staying here, I won't be getting a transit pass for the next month and for as long as this lasts. So that was about $100. So I've kind of decided at least every month I'll give $100 that I'm not spending on transit to somebody I know who isn't able to work because of this. So I did that for this month, but I don't know. As soon as I did it, I thought of like other people I know that I know like won't be able to work. So I'm not sure what to think. I'm gonna have to kind of go over my budget and like really think about it, because I do think like, it's reasonable for me to give money to other people given that I'm like so lucky to be able to continue working and continue to get paid. That's basically all that I was thinking about right now. I wish I could show you cool things, but the room is like so messy right now and I haven't finished unpacking or organizing stuff. One thing I hope to do is like work on music more. I mean, I'll obviously make a lot more of these stupid vlogs, but Yeah, that's about it. I'm sure you'll be hearing from me a lot more. I bet you're just like thrilled about that. Uh, yeah. Okay.